Is your lantern windproof? You might find a lot of your new lanterns is not windproof. Some of your older ones, like this, was windproof. This is one of the model juniors, and it's by the Ditz brand. It says number 20 on it. Now they make a new version of this today. So got it stamped on the top. When hunting and out in the mountains and stuff, a lot of us prefer to use lanterns because we can use them as hand warmers and they last longer than batteries. So I'm going to pop this out. I'm going to show you what makes these windproof. So right, you see that inside ring right here? This is what stops the wind from coming down the chimney pipe of it. So when you're out and the wind's blowing, it'll come through these holes up here and come down. And then where your flame is, it'll come down and it'll hit here and it'll cause a whirling effect and blow the flame out. So what they did in the old days is they put this lip inside here. So when it blows down, it bounces off the sides here. When the wind comes down, it bounces off these sides. By putting a channel, like a little lip right here, to channel that off, that flow, it won't go past that. So your new lanterns is missing this right here. Let's see if I can get it in there a little better. But you got a lip right there inside that lamp, and that's what stops the downflow that's coming down. So if you have a new lamp and it's being blown out, the trick to it is taking a soup can. We take a soup can and you take the bottom of it and you cut a hole in the bottom, and then you trim it down to where it's just about this tall from the bottom, and then you cut the inside of the bottom out to enough to where you got a flange all the way around. You can see just about how. Now you can make them different sizes. You can experiment and make them different sizes. If the soup can don't want to stay in, you can take and cut it and fold the tabs inside and tighten it up and shim it. But what that soup can will do is it'll act as this flange right here, and you'll stop getting that downward wind on your flame. And you can do that on a new lantern, and this will make your new lantern operate just like an old lantern. So if you've got one of these style lanterns and it's blowing out the flame down here, just put you a soup can up here in the chimney pipe and make you a downward flange, and that will stop your wind problem. A lot of people don't like new lanterns because they're not windproof, but that's the trick. I've made several, and every time I make one, someone comes along and wants it because it works so well, so I end up selling it. So I keep my old lantern, but every time I get a new one, I make it and customize it to be windproof, and everybody ends up wanting it, and I end up selling it, so I don't have any to show you just how they work. I sell them quicker than I can make them. A lot of times it's harder to find the lamps, but all it is a soup can, and you just put the soup can up in here. Your flange is going to be about right here inside there, so you need a soup can. Cut it off about that much, slide it in there, and make you a flange. You can cut different size holes in the bottom of the soup can. Some people will take JB Weld or sorter, and they'll sorter the can in. I've seen old timers do that. But anyhow, that's how you stop that, and that's how you fix a new lantern to operate like an old lantern. The rest of the lantern is pretty much the same. There's nothing different. The only difference is the Chinese. When the lamp company switched over, I think in the 50s, they went to Japan and then China, and I think today they're probably owned or manufactured in China. But they lost that feature sometime in the 50s or 60s whenever they did the big switch over and started ending the production in the United States. They made them in all different places across the world. Hong Kong, Japan, China, I think even Taiwan may even have some factories that does them. But they lost that feature when they switched over and took them out of the United States and started producing them overseas. They quit making the wind flange inside here that stopped the wind. Now some of them's a little different up here on the top. The way the vents is made, some of your newer ones will be a little different. But as long as you put you a flange or a shelf inside here, the downward winds won't have no sides to bounce off of. It'll hit that, and it'll just whirl up here in the top, and it won't have nowhere else to go. It can't get down into this part. That's how we modify them. It was an old trick. A lot of the old hunters used to do it. When they started switching the lanterns over, everybody needed windproof lanterns, especially in the mountain regions. That's what we always used them for. They changed the design of them, so when it started getting windy, everybody's lamps started blowing out, and when it come time to come home, you couldn't find your way home because your lamp wouldn't stay lit. Another thing is some of the modern lamps has changed the burners. The older styles is got the screw-in type caps. You got the little cap with the insert that just sits inside of it. Some companies kept that, some companies didn't. Different years, different places, and they sourced them out. But that is the trick to turning a modern lamp into a windproof lantern. If you're camping or hunting or somewhere where it's really windy and you use your lantern a lot, and it's not just used for recreational purposes around the house or something. If you're actually using it outdoors and you're relying on it, you just cut you a soup lamp, a soup can, and put it up inside your lamp chimney, and that usually will fix it. You can experiment with how big you want the hole. You can play around with it. Different wind and different regions and stuff, you'll have different effects on the lamp. But that's how you solve it.